Okay, I'll bite. And all of this is literally from Googling how marriage benefits men and pressing enter. Psychology Today. Men sometimes avoid marriage, but it benefits them more than women. Here are the bullet points. Married men are better off than single men. They are healthier, wealthier, and happier. Single women, however, are better off than married women. Married men are happier than married women, and unmarried women are happier than married men. Divorced men and married women have the highest rates of unaliving. By the way, even conservative publications like the National Review and the Institute for Family Studies back this up because there's data. Now, as to the why are these things true? A study from Yale University, 2011. Although marriage is associated with health benefits for both men and women, research has consistently shown that men derive more benefit than women, and it lists the studies. Focus on the argument that men benefit more from marital conflict, yet they also acknowledge that there are non-mutually exclusive hypotheses. They list the following explanations. The greater social support that husbands may gain from their wives than vice versa. Women's stronger push for health regulatory and prevention behaviors. Your wife reminds you to go to the doctor. And the reduction of daily hassles for men due to wives' provision of more household maintenance. You are happier, healthier, and less stressed because your wife is doing all that work for you. Your wife is the one who's remembering when you should go to the doctor, keeping all that information in your head, remembering when to send your mother or your sister a birthday card or a Mother's Day card, cooking your food, cleaning your house, all those things that you have to do on your own if you ever did them before. Your wife is taking care of all of that. And she's expected to. Even if she works full time, women still do most of that work. That level of domestic support, social support, and, psychological support, we give that to you. You don't give that to us. We spend the marriage pouring into you with you pouring nothing or significantly less back into us. Yet another plausible explanation why men benefit more than marriage is that men and women differ in how much support they give and receive outside of their marriages or romantic relationships. If women have more mutually responsive communal relationships outside of marriage, they may need marriage less than men do in terms of maintaining their health. Multiple lines of research provide evidence for the idea that women benefit more from close relationships outside of their marriages than men do. Women get more social support from their friends. Women have usually already built friend networks and communal networks outside of their marriage. And all the extra work they have to do in their marriage and them being consumed by that means less time they get to spend on the relationships that actually are mutually beneficial, that give them something back because they're so busy dealing with your ass. Men on average tend to not have a lot of friends outside their romantic relationship. Their romantic relationship tends to be their primary social and psychological support, which is one of the many things that makes men so exhausting. They don't have friends. One of my mutuals, Mel Hammett, wrote an article a few years back talking about how men don't have friends and how women pay the price. The extra emotional labor we have to do because you don't have any friends of your own. You have no close communal, relationships with anybody else besides us. It means we have to do all that work. Get some friends. I mean, real friends, actually mutually beneficial relationships with people that don't involve sex or romance. Men rely on the social support from their wives way more than women do from their husbands. In our research, we have found that people, both men and women, feel and expect more communal responsiveness in their relationships with women than with men within their extended family networks. We define communal responsiveness as a degree to which a person feels intrinsically responsible for the welfare of another and attends to the other's needs non-contingently. This can include such things as providing instrumental and emotional support to a partner, supporting a partner's goals and strivings, and conveying understanding of who a partner is. By examining people's multiple relationships, we've been able to ascertain that, one, female family relationships seem to be the most mutually responsive. Our relationships with our friends are better than our relationships with you. Number 2, male-to-male family relationships seem to be the least responsive relationships. Men-to-men friendships aren't that great. They tend to be very superficial and don't provide much benefit. You need to learn how to friend better. And number 3, in the male-female relationships, the men felt more supported than in their relationships with men, but the women felt less supported than in their relationships with women. These results suggest that in cross-gender relationships, men derive more communal responsiveness as well as intimacy, dependence, and obligation than do women, which makes these relationships very important to men. Our findings do suggest that relationships between men and women are lopsided, with women feeling less supported than men in cross-gender family relationships as well as marriages. And that's just 3 links I clicked. It literally took me 5 minutes to get all this information. So to review, you don't have friends, so you rely on us solely for your emotional and psychological well-being. You don't do your fair share of domestic and emotional labor. We have to remind you to go to the doctor. We have to remind you what time the kids need to be picked up. We have to remind you what their allergies are, what the name of their teacher is. You don't know any of this information. For the most part, this isn't a typical marriage. And when there's children involved, women do all that labor. It's not an equal exchange. We give more to you than you give back to us. And at a certain point, women just get tired and they're done. Betty Friedan, the author of The Feminine Mystique, called the problems in marriage the problem that has no name. These are very complicated interpersonal things that are hard to articulate over dinner when you got the kids running around, or right before you're going to bed, or in the morning when you're getting your coffee and everyone's trying to get out the door to work. So the reason why your wife couldn't answer you is because these things are so complicated and so detailed that it's difficult to articulate them sometimes. But that's the answer in this 7 minutes. Also, your career benefits more from marriage than ours does. Marriage tends to be a career killer for us, particularly if we become mothers. Because you're free to focus all on your career when everything else in your life is being taken care of by us. Does that answer your question?